Morning HPC, time for another ramble from Rory. Still finding this book really stretching, really encouraging, really challenging, and just want to share with you a couple of reflections and a bit of a challenge from last Friday's observations that Sinclair Ferguson made. He was looking at Luke chapter 18, verses 18 to 30, the story of the rich ruler. And I love the way in which he started. I thought it was quite telling, really. He said, naturally, when we read the Bible, you and I tend to think Jesus is speaking directly to us. But we never think that when we come to Jesus' pointed words to the rich ruler in Luke chapter 18, verses 18 to 30. Do you remember what he says? He says to the man, sell everything you have, give it to the poor, and you'll have treasure in heaven. Then come and follow me. And we hear that, and we know Jesus isn't talking to us, he's talking to the rich ruler, and so we think, phew, if we're honest. And that's right. He is talking to the rich ruler, but it doesn't mean that there is no punch in this story for you and I. Firstly, it's important, I think, that we recognise that we are incredibly wealthy in global terms. We're probably in the top 1% of global wealth, just by dint of the fact of where we've been born, by dint of the fact that we own a means to access the internet. However we're feeling, we're incredibly wealthy. But Jesus' story is not primarily about wealth, it's about ultimate things. It's about those things that we value more than anything else, the things we treasure, live for, desire. It's about what the Bible would call our idols. Now, idols aren't small statues that we bow down to in the corner of our rooms. Idols are actually those things that we cannot live without. And Jesus addresses them in this story. So when Jesus said to the man, go and sell everything you have and give it to the poor, he's actually speaking about the idols in this man's heart. He's exposing them, if you like. He's showing this person their need. This man has made a tremendous claim. He said that he's kept all of the commandments since he was a boy. And Jesus wants to show him that that just isn't true. Actually, far from loving God with his heart and his soul and his mind and his strength, and far from loving his neighbour as himself, actually he loves his money and his wealth. Jesus' comment is rather like one of those red plaque disclosing tablets that the dentist used to give you. I don't know if you remember these, but they were basically a small red pill that was dye. And you would go home and you'd brush your teeth really, really carefully, and then you'd put this small little red dye tablet in your mouth, and the red dye would stick to all the bits of plaque that you'd missed on your teeth, and you could think, oh, I'm not brushing the top right or top left very well. This question is designed to show the rich ruler his need of Jesus. But rather tragically, he goes away from Jesus, we're told, because of his great wealth, because he loved his wealth so much. His possessions, the stuff that he owns, is super glued to his soul. He can't imagine life without them. And so he goes away from Jesus. And the disciples, seeing this, are absolutely horrified. They think, this guy's got everything going for him. He's powerful, he's rich. If he can't be in the kingdom of heaven, then who can, Jesus? And Jesus provides an absolutely brilliant answer. He says what is impossible with men is possible with God. You see, none of us can give up those things that are superglued to our soul. But if we acknowledge them to God, he can, and he does. He releases us from their bondage. He unsticks them from our souls. This is how Ferguson finishes. He asks two questions, and I think they're great things to ponder before the Lord. The first one is this: is there anything that is superglued to your soul? Anything that you value more than the Lord? And if there is, are you prepared to ask God to unstick it from you, to release you from it? Have a really good day.